AITA for refusing to own up after my ex accused me of cheating and then announced she was pregnant? Hi Reddit. Throw away because my ex follows my main. I29M. Don't know if I handled this the right way, and my head's still a mess. This is long, but context matters. I met Sabrina, 27F, 2 summers ago at a co-working space. I'm a product designer. She was freelancing as a social media manager and part-time studio photographer. She had that warm, camera-ready energy, big laugh, quick banter, the kind of person who can make a coffee line feel like a party. We started with shared lunches, then late-night walks home because we lived a dozen blocks apart, and within a couple months we were basically glued together. The first year was easy in the ways that make you think you've hit the jackpot. We hosted board game nights, learned to cook each other's comfort food, and made a pact to try one uncomfortable thing a month. Hers. A beginner coding class. Mine. Salsa lessons that wrecked my shins but made her grin. She shot my portfolio photos. I designed her logo and a coherent brand palette for her clients. When my landlord jacked my rent, she pressed a key into my palm and said, "Just crash here till you figure it out." It felt like choosing a future without saying it out loud. There were ripples. Sabrina had a thing about exes and female friends. She'd scroll my Instagram likes like a detective, making a sarcastic comment if I liked a coworker's new haircut or a friend's engagement shoot. I don't mean the occasional, understandable twinge. More like a reflexive. Who's that? Why is she always in your comments? I chalked it up to past hurt. She told me her last boyfriend, Dylan, cheated on her with someone he swore was just a friend. I decided to over-communicate and be patient. The first real fight happened around month 8. Sabrina had a client shoot that ran late. I took the bus over with takeout and found her editing with a guy I didn't recognize, Jordan, 31M, in her tiny studio. He introduced himself as a lighting tech helping out. Cool. I set the food down, we all ate. I left early because I had a 9 a.m. wireframe review. The next morning, Sabrina cold-shouldered me and asked why I'd been so weird about Jordan. I hadn't been. I said he seemed fine. She said my energy shifted. That turned into a 2-hour spiral about whether I trusted her network. I apologized for, I'm still not sure what. We made up, and she posted a cute reel of us buying dumplings like nothing happened. The second fight was my fault on paper but also not. A friend from college, Mara, was in town for a conference. We've always been platonic. She's openly gay and literally tried to set me up with her cousin once. Mara texted to grab coffee. I told Sabrina, who said have fun with a tight smile. 20 minutes into the coffee, my phone started lighting up. Where are you? Send a pic. Why didn't you tell me you were dressing up? I sent a selfie of me and Mara holding paper cups under the ugliest fluorescent lighting known to man. Sabrina replied, you look really happy. That night she cried and said she felt stupid for trusting me because men always have loopholes. I reminded her of the selfie, the context, all of it. We ended up in the classic loop. She was sorry for projecting. I was sorry for not reassuring enough. I'm not a saint. I can be blunt. I'm not great at reading subtext. If you want me to say, hey, you're the only person I want, I'll say it, but I don't naturally produce Instagram-worthy reassurance on command. Still, I tried. I shared my calendar when I was on sprints, sent at my desk, selfies like a teenager, and reduced after-work beers to once a month. Last winter, we started planning to officially move in together. We looked at 2 bedrooms so Sabrina could have a small studio alcove and I could turn the second bedroom into a desk cave. We argued about plants. We made spreadsheets about budgets. We planned to adopt an older dog from a rescue. I was genuinely excited. I also had a Ring link sitting in my browser tabs like a secret. Around this time, Sabrina's freelance work ticked up. She started collaborating more with Jordan. I met him a handful of times. He was easygoing and funny, the natural extrovert foil to my awkward jokes. He always called Sabrina kid, which made me roll my eyes but also relax. The two of them landed a big gig, rebranding a boutique fitness studio, and Sabrina was ecstatic. I brought champagne, we toasted to grown-up steps. Then, in early spring, my team hit a crunch window. Long days, late nights. I told Sabrina my schedule. I offered to scoot weekend plans around to meet her clients' shoots. She said she was proud of me and jokingly called herself a project widow. The joke didn't feel like a joke the third time. The night everything started to tilt was a Thursday. I was deep into flows, Bluetooth headphones on, when Slack pinged me into a fire drill. I missed 2 calls from Sabrina and a string of texts. You there? Or are you with someone? Why didn't you pick up? This always happens when things get busy. By the time I saw them, she'd sent, "Forget it. Good night." I called back immediately. No answer. I Ubered over with a bag of bagels, her favorite crisis food. She opened the door, eyes red. The apartment smelled like acetone and eucalyptus. Her manicure kit was spread across the coffee table like she'd been trying to keep her hands busy. "What happened?" I asked. "You happened," she said. "I hate who I am when you don't answer." We talked for hours. She said she needed to feel chosen, not like the second tab behind Figma. I said I needed not to be punished for doing my job. We negotiated boundaries like diplomats. If I'm in a crunch window, I'll send a heads down 3 to 5 p.m. text. If she's spiraling, she'll call once and add urgent if it's an emergency. We hugged. I left at 2 a.m. Wrung out but optimistic. For about a month it worked. Then it didn't. I started noticing little things. Sabrina's phone face down when I walked into rooms. A hastily closed laptop screen when I set a coffee on her desk. A new habit of staying late at the studio, followed by texts sent at 1:15 a.m. Crash at yours. Too tired to Uber. When I asked how the fitness rebrand was going, she said, "So good," and changed the subject. I told myself I was being paranoid. I repeated a mantra. She's not Dylan. You're not her ex. You're not your worst thought. I threw myself into being present. I surprised her with dinner reservations. I brought her favorite jasmine tea to shoots. I texted Jordan once to thank him for carrying heavy light stands so she wouldn't wreck her back. He sent a thumbs up and a "she's a star" voice note. The night the boat really started to take on water was my sister's birthday. Big family dinner, loud Greek restaurant, plates smashing in the corner for reasons unclear to me. Sabrina said she'd meet us after a quick client wrap-up. She arrived an hour late, breathless, apologies tumbling. She looked incredible, silky blouse, hair in loose waves, lipstick just a shade braver than usual. My mom hugged her. My dad poured her wine. I leaned in and whispered, "You look amazing," and she flinched. At dessert, Sabrina stepped outside to take a client call. When she came back, her face was composed in that too smooth way I've learned to dread. On the walk home, she said, "We need to talk." Adrenaline spiked. I asked if she was okay. She said, "Are you okay? Because nothing about you tonight felt honest." Back at her place, it detonated. She said she was done feeling like a placeholder. She said she saw the way I looked at Mara, who wasn't even at dinner. She said a woman knows when her boyfriend's attention is somewhere else. I asked what specific thing I'd done. She laughed, soundless, and said, "There's always a specific thing with you, isn't there? You want logs and timestamps." I wanted anything besides mind reading. I said carefully, "If I've made you feel unseen, I'm sorry, but I'm not cheating. I have never cheated on you." She stared at me for a long time, eyes glossy, then said, "I can't do this," and went to the bedroom. I slept on the couch, listening to the fridge pop and the neighbors laugh through thin plaster. The next morning, she was fine, making coffee, humming. She kissed my cheek and said, "Sorry I spiraled. I should have insisted we finish the conversation. I didn't." We coasted for a week, thin ice cracking but somehow holding. On Friday, Sabrina had a gallery opening for a client. Small affair, rented gallery wall, Prosecco in plastic flutes. I showed up with flowers. Jordan was there, tireless and charming, telling a circle of people a story about a shoot where the softbox tried to commit murder. I laughed in the right places. Sabrina squeezed my hand too hard. Around 9, a woman I didn't know. Later I learned her name was Tessa, a stylist who sometimes worked with Sabrina, leaned in and said quietly, "You good?" I said, "Yeah," reflexively, and she gave me a look like she didn't believe me but didn't have the license to push. I filed it away. We left around 10. As we walked to the car, Sabrina asked, too casually, "Why didn't you tell me you'd been DMing Mara all week?" The bottom dropped out of my stomach. I hadn't. I showed her my phone. She said, "You delete things." I asked if she wanted to log into my messages and dig around. She said, "I'm not insane. I don't want to be your parole officer." We drove home in silence. The next day, she suggested space. I said, "Okay, 2 days to reset, check in Monday." I hated it but agreed. Saturday afternoon I went for a run, grabbed groceries, and texted her a photo of my cat asleep under the produce bag like a lettuce burrito. No reply. Sunday evening, my phone started buzzing on the coffee table where I'd abandoned it while making pasta. Group chat. Yikes. Man, are you okay? A cousin? A coworker? Dude, is this about you? I opened Instagram and felt my mouth go dry. Sabrina had posted a black and white selfie. Hand on her stomach, eyes soft, caption. Sometimes life throws you a curveball, choosing to be strong even when someone betrays you. Excited and terrified to be a mom. Heart emojis, angel emojis, thousands of likes in an hour. I called her 3 times. No answer. I texted, "Sabrina, what is this?" She responded, "You know exactly what it is. Please stop calling. I need calm." I sat on the floor for a long time, watching the ceiling fan drag its lazy circles. My notifications stacked like Jenga blocks. Friends I hadn't heard from in months sent ambiguous, "Here if you need messages." One of Sabrina's clients messaged me, "If this is true, I can't believe you." I wanted proof, verification, anything besides a caption designed to go viral. I asked if we could talk in person. She said, "I'm not ready." I asked when the appointment was, if I could go. She said, "Don't make this about your control issues. This is my body." A dozen different versions of myself argued inside my head. The one who believed Sabrina, who pictured a nursery, who Googled how to be a good partner in the first trimester. The one who remembered every time she turned a suspicion into a verdict. The one who wanted to disappear and sleep for a week. I told my sister. She said, flatly, "Did you cheat?" I said no. She said, "Then congratulations, I guess?" It felt like being congratulated for a building fire. My mom asked quiet questions about doctor visits. My dad said nothing for a long time and then, "Be careful." That night, Sabrina posted an Instagram story. Tiny sneakers lined up next to her boots. A sonogram graphic that could have been pulled from Google, and a song about second chances. The DMs I got ranged from "own up" to "I'm unfollowing you." Jordan reacted to her post with a heart. I felt something in my chest twist. I barely slept. At 6 a.m., I walked to Sabrina's place because I couldn't stand my own apartment. I texted from the sidewalk. She buzzed me in without a word. She looked composed, almost radiant in that way people look when they've turned pain into content. On the counter sat a prenatal vitamin bottle. On the table, a stack of client invoices. On the sofa, the throw blanket we bought at a flea market because the seller's dog liked me. "Can we please talk like 2 humans?" I asked. She crossed her arms. "If your plan is to talk me out of my reality, no. I'm not here to argue about reality," I said. "I'm here to ask for facts. Are you pregnant?" "Yes," she said, chin high. "Okay. When did you find out?" "Last week." "Which day?" She blinked, annoyed. "Why does it matter?" "Because everything matters," I said, trying not to sound like a cross-examining attorney. "Can we make an appointment together? I want to be there." She shook her head. "I'm not putting my medical care on your approval schedule." "I'm not asking to approve," I said. "I'm asking to participate. If I'm going to be—" The word father snagged in my throat. "If this is happening, I want to be present." Sabrina's eyes flashed. "Present like you were present last week when you missed my calls while out with Mara?" I stared. "I was at my desk. You know I was at my desk." She looked over my shoulder, jaw set. "Please leave," she said finally. I don't want to be yelled at. I hadn't yelled. I wanted to. I didn't. On my way out, I paused. Sabrina, I said softly. If this is real, I'm in. But if it's not, please don't do this. She turned her face away like sunlight hurt. I walked home in air that felt like soup, my phone buzzing with more opinions than I'd ever asked for. I drafted a notes app statement like a C-list celebrity and then deleted it. I couldn't out-PR someone whose job was literally PR. I could only hold on and hope the truth was less slippery than it felt. That was 3 days ago. Since then, Sabrina's leaned into the narrative. Her stories are full of self-care after betrayal and choosing peace for two. People comment things like, men are trash and you got this mama. I stare at my ceiling at 3 a.m., counting the little glow-in-the-dark constellation stickers my previous tenant left, and try not to scream. I know what this sub is for. I know how it looks when a guy comes here and says, she's lying. I'm not asking anyone to dogpile her. I'm asking a simpler, uglier question. When someone controls the story and locks you out of the proof, what's the decent way to be? Right now, every move feels like the wrong one. If I push, I'm the manipulator. If I step back, I'm the deadbeat. If I tell my side, I'm making it about me. If I stay silent, the silence fills with rumors. I'm stuck between playing the villain in someone else's movie and refusing to audition at all. So, AITA for not owning up on social media and for demanding proof before I accept that I'm about to be a dad? Because that's what my DMs say I am. Update 1. Finding the truth and what the internet won't tell you. I didn't post anything public. Couldn't. Every draft made me look like a guy counter-accusing a woman who just said she was pregnant, and I hated that worst-case version of me. So I did the only thing that felt remotely adult. I tried to verify quietly. First, I tried the supportive route. I Venmo'd Sabrina money with the note, for prenatal vitamins / whatever you need. I texted, if you'd like me at the first appointment, I'll be there. She replied, thanks. I need space. Don't make this about you. I asked for a date I could put on my calendar. She sent a heart emoji and nothing else. That night, I rewatched her Instagram story, the one with the tiny sneakers and a sonogram. Something snagged. The sonogram had a weird little footer watermark, barely visible, but it didn't look like a clinic name. It looked like a website. I took a screenshot, bumped the contrast up, and Googled the string. It was a Pinterest pin from 2019 that linked to a bundle of cute ultrasound graphics for announcements. The exact same image, same tilt, same little bright smudge, was on 3 mommy blogs and a Canva template. My stomach rolled. I did not message her with gotcha. Instead I texted, that sonogram you posted? Whose clinic is it? If I'm going to be a dad, I want to know who will see. She responded, stop interrogating me. 2 days later, I got a DM from Tessa, the stylist from the gallery night. Tessa, hey, not sure if I should get involved, but are you okay? Me, define okay. Tessa, right? I thought so. I don't want drama, but Sabrina's posts are a lot. Me, I'm trying to be respectful. I just want facts. Tessa, can we talk off IG? We met in the loudest coffee shop in town. Tessa looked like she regretted it the second she sat down. She kept twisting her ring, eyes on the door. I'm not here to blow up anyone's life, she said. But Sabrina dragged me into this by posting like that. People think I knew and she exhaled. I don't. She told me 3 things. 1. Timeline weirdness. Sabrina had told her 2 months ago that her cycle was late and she was terrified. Then the following week said, laughing, false alarm, and took a champagne flute at a rap dinner. 2. The sonogram image. Tessa had seen it in a Canva folder when they were mocking up a pitch deck for a maternity brand. 3. Jordan. Tessa had seen them leave the studio together twice around midnight. Could have been work, she said carefully, but a vibes. I asked if she'd put that in writing. She recoiled. I can't be in the middle. She'll scorch the earth. I didn't press. I thanked her, paid for both coffees, and walked home feeling like my bones had been replaced with chalk. I started keeping a log. Not a conspiracy board, just dates, texts, things she said. If I was going to make life decisions around something this huge, I needed a record to stop me gaslighting myself later. The log made one thing obvious within a week. The dates didn't add up. Sabrina captioned one post 5 weeks, and 3 days later, told a friend in a comment she was almost 2 months. When her followers asked for an 8-week update, she posted quotes about protecting my peace instead of info. I tried again to participate. If you're not ready for me in the room, can I wait outside and drive you home? She left me on read for hours, then answered, I'm not a child. The next day she sent a photo of prenatal vitamins with my Venmo money still in the shot, like product placement. I zoomed in and realized the label was in French. Google showed me the exact stock photo on a pharmacy site. I felt like I was living in a room where the furniture looked real until you tried to sit on it. My best friend Gabe, my Tom, I guess, said, Man, stop treating this like UX research. Either she's pregnant or she's not. If she is, you'll know soon enough. If she isn't, she can't stay Schrodinger's pregnant forever. He wasn't wrong, but Schrodinger's limbo lasted long enough to make me half mad. I tried a different tack. Radical support with a boundary. I sent this wall of text. I am here if you are pregnant. I will go to appointments, schedule classes, make the nursery, whatever. I am also not participating in a story I can't verify. I will not confess to cheating on social media because I didn't. If you want to co-author one post with me that says we're figuring things out privately, I'll write it with you today. She replied, Unbelievable. Even now you need control. You care more about optics than the baby. The next afternoon, Jordan DM'd me for the first time ever. Jordan, hey man, we should talk. Me, about. Jordan, you know about. Me, no, I actually don't. Do you? Jordan, I'm not getting between you two. He sent a thumbs up and disappeared. My hands shook. I typed cool and didn't send it. That weekend was my niece's recital. Sabrina did not come. She did post a story of her hand on a teacup with the caption, Nurturing too. My sister watched me watching my phone and said, If she's lying, then stopped. Nobody wanted to finish that sentence. Sunday night, a mistake happened. Sabrina came to my place to pick up a charger. A thing she had 3 of already. She was frantic and soft at once. The way she gets when she wants me to surrender. We ate takeout in silence. She took a long shower, emerged with her hair in a towel, and fell asleep on my couch. Her phone kept buzzing face down. I didn't touch it. I put a blanket over her, turned off the TV, and went to bed. At 2:11 a.m., the buzzing got aggressive. I got up to plug her phone in so it would stop. As I lifted it, a banner preview flashed. Jordan, everything okay? You were quiet earlier. Call if you can. It wasn't incriminating. It was normal. That's what scared me. How normal this man's middle-of-the-night check-ins were. I put the phone down like it burned and stood in my kitchen for a long time, pretending I was deciding whether to drink water. On Monday, I made practical calls. I spoke to a family lawyer a friend recommended just to consult. He was matter-of-fact. Before birth, there's no court-ordered paternity testing. If a baby is born and you're named on the certificate, you have rights and obligations. If you doubt paternity, you can petition for testing after birth. In the meantime, document everything. Be respectful in writing. Don't sign anything you don't understand. It was strangely calming. Someone putting rails around a situation that felt like fog. That afternoon, Tessa texted, Can you talk? She sounded rattled. We met in a different coffee shop across town. She slid into the booth and whispered, I don't want to be in this, but I also don't want to feel complicit. She told me Sabrina had asked her to shoot announcement content before Sabrina would reasonably have known anything. She said the algorithm likes Tuesday mornings, Tessa said, and she needed assets ready. Tessa showed me 2 mock-ups on her phone. The exact sonogram Sabrina posted, layered over the studio's birch tabletop, and a second layout with tiny sneakers that never got used because the lighting felt sad. Metadata on the files were from a week before Sabrina told her followers. Why are you showing me this? I asked. Because I asked her point blank if she was sure, Tessa said, voice shaking. She said, it's complicated but yes. And then later, this part one hate. She joked about how good her engagement was. I know pregnancy can be messy. I have a line. I asked if I could screenshot. She hesitated, then nodded. I took exactly 2 screenshots and a photo of the timestamp, hands sweating. I still wasn't ready to confront. I wanted something indisputable. That thing came, stupidly, from a corporate security feature, the key fob logs at Sabrina's building. I didn't go looking. The building sent a safety upgrade email with a portal where residents could see their own entries. Sabrina had added me during the almost move-in period so I could buzz deliveries. I logged in to remove my access and saw her late-night swipes. On nights she'd said she was home resting. Her fob had opened the door at 12:41 a.m. and 1:08 a.m. On 2 of those nights, a guest code, Jordan's initials were literally on the whitelist, was granted access within 5 minutes of hers. I took screenshots, then immediately felt sick. This wasn't guessing. It was timestamps. I asked Gabe if I was crossing a line. He said, "You're not hacking. You're looking at a door log you have access to because you used to live there." He also said, "I hate all of this." The same day, Sabrina posted a reel of herself arranging tulips with the caption nesting. The comments were a Greek chorus of hearts and proud of you. I sat on my hands. That evening, the final snap. Remember Mara, my college friend? She texted me a screenshot from her DMs. Sabrina had messaged her 2 weeks earlier. Woman to woman, do you think he's in love with you? I'd rather hear it. Mara's response had been saintly patient. She explained, again, that she's gay, that we've never been anything but friends, that Sabrina was spiraling. Sabrina replied, "Thanks for confirming what I already knew," and blocked her. I stared at that exchange until my eyes hurt. Meanwhile, Jordan posted a story from a hotel bar, Heavywood, that same weird oil painting I'd seen when my team had a retreat at the Nightingale. The timestamp was Friday 11:23 p.m. The night Sabrina told me she was too sick to talk, and logged a 12:41 a.m. fob entry. In the edge of his frame, a navy sleeve and a lock of dark hair. Could have been anyone. My chest knew. I wrote Sabrina one more message. "I'm not going to fight you online. If you want me there, name a time and I'll be at the appointment. If you don't, I will respect that. I will not, however, affirm a pregnancy because you posted a generic sonogram and told my family you're disappointed in me. I have seen building logs and things that make me think there is another person involved. If you want to tell me the truth privately, I will listen and not scream. I deserve the truth." She replied 4 hours later, "You are harassing me. If you keep texting, I will get a restraining order." I put my phone down and cried in my car in a grocery store parking lot like a cliché. Not because I was surprised, by then nothing she did could surprise me, but because the distance between the Sabrina I loved and the Sabrina who typed that sentence felt like miles of ice, and I was the idiot in socks. That night, Tessa sent one more text. "I'm done being in the middle. I told her I'm out on any content." She flipped. "I'm sorry. Also check this." A screenshot followed, Jordan to Sabrina. "Jordan, I didn't sign up to be a villain. You said he'd fade quietly." Sabrina, "He will. He hates scenes." Jordan, "And the baby thing?" Sabrina, "Not talking about that over text. It wasn't a confession. But if you've ever watched someone balance lies, you know that the dangerous stuff migrates off the record." Combined with the canvas sonogram, the fob logs, the catfish-level stock vitamin bottle, the champagne at the wrap dinner, my denial finally ran out of places to sleep. I told Gabe, "I have to end this, kindly with receipts if I have to, but I can't carry this story she's writing." He nodded and said, "Let's make a plan so you don't do anything rash." The plan was simple, and no social posts, a one last offer to attend an appointment. If refused, step back, document and prep for whatever legal steps existed if a baby appeared with my last name. If she kept smearing me, I'd correct the record once, privately to family and mutuals with facts, no adjectives. I slept for 4 hours without dreams. I woke up to a tag, Sabrina had posted a carousel. Her hand with a ring she already owned, the tulips, a long caption about choosing motherhood even when abandoned. In the second slide, the canvas sonogram again, cropped tighter this time, watermark trimmed. I let the kettle boil over before I texted a group of 4 mutual friends who'd frozen me out. I said, "I'm not asking for loyalty. I am asking for accuracy. If you're going to judge me with the full picture." Then I attached 3 images, the Pinterest link to the sonogram graphic, the building log showing 2 late entries with Jordan's guest code, and a screenshot of my bank statement line where I'd Venmo'd her money for prenatal vitamins, the day she accused me of not supporting my child. 2 read it and said nothing. 1 replied, "Oh." The 4th called me and, for the first time in weeks, said, "I'm sorry, man. I didn't feel vindicated. I felt like I'd just opened a window in a smoke-filled room." That night, my doorbell rang. Through the peephole, Sabrina, eyes bright, face set to a neutral I now recognize as a mask. I opened the door halfway and stepped into the hall. "We're not doing this inside," I said. She looked me up and down. "You didn't have to bring other people into this," she said. "You did that the minute you posted," I said as gently as I could. "I'm not going to argue. If you are pregnant, tell me the clinic and the date. I will be there and I will shut up forever. If you're not, please stop." For a second, I thought she'd say it. I saw it flicker, the truth or something like it, crossing her face like a shadow. Then her jaw locked. "Lose my number," she said. "We're done." She turned and walked away, heels too loud on the hallway concrete. I closed the door and slid down it, phone face up on the rug. A minute later, a text buzzed. Not from her. "Jordan again. Jordan, I think I've made a mistake." I didn't answer. I sat with the quiet and the stupid, stubborn hope that reality would stop arguing with itself. Update 2, the confrontation and everything that came after, combined final. When Jordan texted, "I think I've made a mistake," I stared at the screen until it dimmed. Part of me wanted to ghost him forever. Part of me wanted to show up with a whiteboard and draw the world's saddest swim lane diagram. I did neither. I asked Gabe to come sit in the corner like emotional security, and we met Jordan at a sunlit diner where the waitress calls everyone Han. Jordan arrived looking like he'd slept in a question mark. "I'm not here to fight," he said. "I know I don't deserve your patience." Then he talked in the fast, breathless way of someone pulling out a splinter. He and Sabrina slid from late night "you home safe" messages into memes, then into not jokes. He swore the first time anything happened was after a shoot that ran past midnight. "I told myself you two were basically over," he said. "She said you were cohabiting out of convenience and had an emotional thing with someone named Mara." He flinched. Gabe's eyebrows did the punching I didn't. I asked about the pregnancy. He winced. She told him she was late once in March, then laughed it off a week later over champagne. She floated might be again in May, never let him see a test, never scheduled an appointment he was invited to. When I showed him the canvas sonogram on my phone, the one I'd traced to a 2019 announcement pack, he recognized it instantly from a pitch deck. "I told her to swap it once she had the real thing," he said, staring at the screen like it would apologize. He slid his phone across the table and scrolled in front of me. Not explicit, not cruel, just intimacy and logistics, and, the night she posted her news, a line from him, "Are you sure?" And back from her, "Just trust me. It's better if he stops arguing and accepts it." I didn't take screenshots. My brain did. "What do you want from me?" I asked. "To undo time," he said. "Barring that, to not be the guy you picture when you spiral." I should have asked harder questions. "I'm out." He exhaled, long and shaky. "She's furious I won't support the narrative. She said I'm fragile. Maybe I am." We sat with untouched pie on the house. I went home and sent one last adult email to Sabrina. Subject line, bulletproof calm. "If you are pregnant and want me there, send the clinic name and appointment time. I will attend respectfully. If you don't want me there, I won't contact you again outside emergencies. I will not participate in a public narrative I cannot verify. If there is a child, I will support our child. If there is not, I will protect my livelihood and reputation. 20 minutes later, she replied, "Stop harassing me." Gabe said, "If you confront, do it with witnesses who like truth more than drama." I asked Aisha and Luis, mutuals who had drifted when Sabrina's post went viral, to sit in a public cafe and make sure I kept my voice at librarian. They agreed on conditions: broad daylight, short window, no ambush. Sabrina arrived 10 minutes late, immaculate. She sat, said, "This is ridiculous," and told me to go ahead. I kept my hands flat on the table. "2 questions," I said. "Are you pregnant?" "Yes." "Where and when is your next appointment?" "I'm not telling you. You turn everything into court." I nodded, slid 2 printouts across the table. No monologue, no extra adjectives. First, the Pinterest page with the exact sonogram graphic and its 2019 origin. Second, the building entry log showing 12:41 a.m. and 1:08 a.m. Entries on the nights she told me she was home, resting, plus a guest code labeled with Jordan's initials within 5 minutes. Aisha cleared her throat. "He isn't accusing you of a crime. He's showing why he's scared." Sabrina's mouth trembled, then flattened. "You think facts are neutral," she said. "They're not. Facts are bludgeons." She stared out the window. I needed to feel safe. Luis asked, soft, "Is there a baby?" "There was almost one," she said. "And now everyone wants to audit my uterus." "That's not what he's asking," Aisha said. "He's asking what he's responsible for." Sabrina stood so fast the chair yelped. "I'm not staying for this." At the door she said, "You could have just believed me. You always need a receipt." Then she left. The plant by the door brushed her shoulder like it wished it could hold her. Aisha logged the time in her notes and said, "I witnessed calm. I also witnessed deflection as an art." Luis squeezed my shoulder. I went home and didn't post a single thing. That evening my sister called, voice small. Sabrina had messaged her that I'd ambushed her with an abuse triangle. My sister asked for the doctor's info to send flowers. Sabrina said no. "I'm sorry I doubted you," my sister said. I put the apology in a clean drawer in my head. Tessa texted that she was out of the content machine and, if needed, would confirm the Canva timeline privately. Work gave me 3 days off with no questions. My mom left soup and a note in teacher handwriting. "Proud of you for asking for truth. Proud of you for not shouting." I cried into lentils. 2 mornings later Jordan called. He'd told Sabrina he was done. She called him fragile and blocked him. He added one more shard. The day after the gallery opening, the night she posted, he'd seen a negative test in her trash. She cried, said maybe it was too early, maybe it would flip. He hadn't argued. "I'm not a scientist," he said, "but I know what a minus looks like." I wrote it in my log not to weaponize later, just to stop my own brain from shape-shifting the past. For a while, Sabrina doubled down with posts about the cruelty of people who demand proof of your pain and graphics about financial abuse. That would have been funny if the stakes weren't my life. Then the wind shifted. Quietly, mutuals stopped engaging. She archived the announcement. No correction, no apology, just tidying like wiping a spill with the back of a hand. My DMs, once full of own up, turned into, "Hey, are you okay?" I wasn't vindicated. I was tired. I booked therapy. In session 1, I talked for 40 minutes like a fire hydrant. The therapist said one line I keep in my laptop. "You kept asking for reality to be a place you could meet. That was not cruelty." I also started doing small, humiliatingly normal things. Cleaned my kitchen junk drawer, bought a too bright lamp I weirdly love, took my niece for ice cream and didn't check my phone. Mara sent a selfie of her girlfriend flipping off the camera with the caption, "To anyone interrogating your DMs." It helped more than any essay. Then, because irony never sleeps, Sabrina showed up at my office building. Security buzzed me. "There's a woman here who says she's your fiancé." We stood by a planter that has seen more early-stage startups die than I've had birthdays. She looked human tired for once, hoodie and puffy eyes. I want to talk, she said. In public, I said. Brief. She stared at the ground. I don't know why you needed to make me look crazy. I could have listed the receipts I never posted. Instead I said, clinic name and time. That's the only conversation I have left. You love paperwork more than you ever loved me, she said. That's not true, I said. Because I loved you, I kept asking for something solid to stand on. She pinched the bridge of her nose. For a heartbeat, I thought a truth might cross her face and make a home. Then, you'll hear from a lawyer. She didn't hire one. She just went quiet. I handled the boring aftermath. I returned the spare key she'd once pressed into my palm like a promise. I moved the last of my winter clothes out of her closet. I deleted the shared note titled Two-Bedroom Ideas and the Zillow folder with circled floor plans. I kept the cat. He already knew which apartment had the better window. Friends trickled back with apologies shaped like question marks. I accepted the ones that sounded like they had learned something and let the rest drift. If I make you choose me or the person who made the biggest scene, I told myself, I'm already losing. I didn't need penance. I needed fewer people who mistake volume for truth. Work stopped feeling like swimming with a backpack of bricks. I shipped a design review I'm proud of. My manager said, welcome back. Like I'd returned from a long, dumb war. Jordan sent a final message. I told my sister everything. She said I confused not asking hard questions with kindness. I'm sorry for the part one played. I won't reach out again. I typed thank you for telling the truth where you could and never hit send. Some sentences do their work without traveling. What I did not do. Post screenshots, call clients, send mass emails, torch her career, make a gotcha thread. I corrected the record privately with 4 mutuals who had been told I'd abandoned a pregnant fiancé. Sent exactly 3 images, the stock sonogram link, the building log, the Venmo line for prenatal vitamins. And then I stopped. I didn't want a bonfire. I wanted oxygen. And because this is AITA and not a diary, here are the simple facts that mattered in the end. The sonogram she posted was a stock template from 2019. Multiple people, Tessa, Jordan, recognized it from work files. The vitamin photo matched a stock pharmacy image. Building fob logs contradicted home resting nights. A guest code with Jordan's initials appeared minutes after her entries. Twice. Jordan saw a negative test the weekend she announced and admitted he let the maybe it'll flip line soothe his conscience. I repeatedly offered to attend a real appointment. She refused to share a clinic or a date. I made one controlled witnessed ask. I did 0 public callouts. Do I feel heroic? No. I feel like a guy who kept asking for the clinic name because he wanted a place to put his fear that wasn't the internet. So, AITA for organizing a controlled confrontation with witnesses instead of trusting someone whose facts never landed, and for quietly sharing a minimum of receipts with a few mutuals so I could exit without being swallowed by a lie. Some people say I should have taken the high road and ghosted. Some say I should have nuked her timeline with proof. I tried to cut the wire without blowing up the neighborhood. Maybe that wasn't noble. Maybe it was the only thing that let me sleep.